Welcome to Ukraine Today. My name is Tereshchechko. Joining me now is Olena Onogda. She's the Scientific Secretary of the National Museum of the History of Ukraine to talk about the recent decision of the Amsterdam Court on returning Scythian treasures to the Ukrainian party. Hello, Olena. It's a great pleasure to have you here.
Hello, Taras. Nice to meet you. I'm fine and I'm feeling happy, to be honest.
So let's already switch to the very topic of returning Scythian gold to Ukraine. So this decision, does it really mean that they will be returned to Ukraine, to Kyiv in particular, as soon as possible, or actually it's a very long process?
Well, the decision is quite clear. The gold is to come back to the territory of Ukraine, but of course the court gives some time for the party of the process which would like to make an appeal to the higher court. So for the minimum period of 3 months, the treasuries are being kept inside the Allard Pearson Museum funds.
So did Russia already appeal the decision, or they just already claimed but they still didn't do that?
They announced it in the media that they are going to appeal, but they haven't brought the documents yet. And that's not Russia, I'd like to tell you, because Russia is not the official party of the process. The official party are the Crimean museums themselves.
So what were the positions of Crimean museums when they were in the court and saying that they should be returned to Crimean museums, but not to Ukraine?
There are two main points are connected. The first one is connected to the fact that museum collections are not to be divided. They appeal to museum ethics, and that's really an important part of the course. And the second part is about the agreements, because the agreements were being signed between the museums of Netherlands and Crimea. So these are their points.
So let's talk more about this agreement. So the agreement was signed by the Amsterdam Museum,
yes,
and the museums of Crimea and one of Kyiv museums, right?
Yes. But the main point is that in such cases, when there are movements from the territory of Ukraine, all the agreements are to be approved by the Ministry of Culture of Ukraine, and that's the main point of Ukrainian part in the court process.
Mm-hmm. So on the Ukrainian legislation level, all the treasures, all the showpieces in any museums of Ukraine, including the Crimean ones, they're actually the property of Ukraine, right?
Of the state of Ukraine, and the Ministry of Culture is the institution which lets doing any decisions connected with the collections.
If we go back to the decision of the Amsterdam Court, what was the basis of their ruling? So how they based their decision on what?
The decision was based on the points of international laws, and especially of the UNESCO Convention of 1970s, which says that the property of a sovereign state is the property of a sovereign state, and until the Crimea is deoccupied by Russian Federation, the museum treasuries are to belong to the sovereign country of Ukraine.
So if we give some estimates about the time when they could be returned here, so as far as I understand, the National Museum of the History of Ukraine will be storing those treasures and those showpieces until Crimea is deoccupied. So how much time should we wait for it?
I'm afraid nobody is sure, but we suppose that it would happen in approximately a year. 3 months for the appeal, and later we'll also need time to do all the documents to transport the artifacts to Ukraine.
So the museum itself, is it somehow already ready to accept those showpieces?
Sure, we are ready, and we are waiting for that collection to come to our walls.
There is the information that Amsterdam will demand money for storing, for keeping those showpieces there, while the court hearing was taking place for all these 2 years. Mm-hmm. So is it actually true?
It is true. This is one of the points of the court's decision, but I personally cannot comment this situation because this part of the case is regulated by the Ukrainian Ministry of Justice.
Let's mention that this case about Scythian gold, it's actually unprecedented story for not only for Ukraine, actually for the whole world. So what was so important in that case that will show to the world how to act in such situations?
It was really a very important case, and I think the importance is connected not only to the museum's collections but to general international system of the law, of legislation. And the court in Amsterdam made a decision based on the international laws connected to the country's sovereignty, to impossibility of illegal annexation of some parts of the country, and etc. So for me personally, it's more a political case even than the museum case, and it's really an important precedent.
And let's finish on a very positive moment. Why all these treasures, they are so important to be returned exactly to the Ukrainian party and not to Crimean museums as the occupational authorities in Crimea state. So what is the main treasure, right, of these showpieces we want to return?
The main feature is connected with the fact that all the objects would be safe until the moment of Crimea deoccupation.
It's very important,
yeah.
And I really hope that within a year we'll return them here, and with the time Crimea will be back to Ukraine and all those showpieces will be returned there. So Olena, thank you for explaining more, for sharing your vision and more details on the case, and I hope that in very short perspective we'll actually see them here in this museum.
I do hope to. Thank you.
Olena Onogda, Scientific Secretary of the National Museum of the History of Ukraine, joined Ukraine Today to talk about the future of Scythian gold. And my name is Thank you for watching Ukraine Today.